Why, hey there, everybody. How's it going? It's September 4th, 2020, and maybe you're in New Mexico. I was there 3 weeks ago. I was in Taos. Beautiful country. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'll show some pictures. I'll put them in this thread if you're watching this on kenbraverman.com. But if you have a business in New Mexico uh, and you have a few employees, if you have over two employees, or three or more, you have to, I believe, apply for workers' comp in New Mexico. But if you have two or one, you don't. And I'm going to go over New Mexico tax rates. I'm going to go over the payroll file. I have an Excel that does payroll and makes it easy for you, and talk about New Mexico specific things. And we'll have some fun with it. So let's go. Let's try to do it pretty fast here. So this is actually not weekly. This is actually for a bi-weekly company that pays bi-weekly or every 2 weeks. Um, and you put in information about the employee. We use Pokemon characters for fun in this file. Bulbasaur, social security number if you want. Did the person fill out a 2020 W-4? Yes or no? If you answer no, then you have to put in whatever their allowances were for their old W-4. If they did fill out a 2020 W-4, which everybody should now, we're kind of migrating into future years. So you're going to want to fill out a current W-4 just so that you fill out this stuff over here correctly. There's information about the new 2020 W-4 over here about dependents and things like that. I've done a video about the W-4 in the past, and we'll talk about it right now, but it's really complicated this year compared to years past if you want to fill it out completely. So what New Mexico did to deal with the change in the W-4 was actually remove state allowances from their calculation when determining withholding. So it's actually, this is really does not apply in New Mexico. You could just hide it if you wanted to. Because it doesn't matter anymore. They do the rate without it, and I'll explain that in a minute. Um, is the person married? Yes or no? What's their state? Okay, so these are all New Mexico's here all the way down. But you can see that when you choose certain states, sometimes this will go clear or not clear if it wasn't New Mexico. So black means you wouldn't have to put anything there. But if it is New Mexico, which this is a New Mexico state, you have to choose the filing status of the person, the state filing status, essentially. Even though there's no New Mexico W-4 equivalent, you still need to know which rate you want to be taxed at. So the person should fill this out, and you're going to want to choose one for them. So that is pretty much the employee info master sheet. If you have an unemployment rate assigned to you by New Mexico, the first 25,800 in wages are taxable, and whatever the rate is, you would put it there. And here's a link to the withholding PDF about withholding rates. So when you enter in the employee information, you're good. Now you can go to the daily hours sheet where you can enter in information about the employee and how many hours they worked, if they worked overtime hours or holiday hours or vacation hours. You can pay them by certain projects if you want to, but this stuff really, you can hide it and you don't need any of this stuff. If you just want to be simple and say, here, just want to keep track of how many hours they worked, right? You're going to get their name and a drop down menu here to choose from. And you can just enter it in. Then the matrix, you don't really have to worry about. That's for more complicated stuff if you're programming this, so I'll move that out of the way. The pay period record sheet, this is where all the actual paychecks for the period, each bi-weekly pay period in this file, every 2 weeks, where they are, and starts to talk about kind of information about each paycheck that you would enter in each week. So employee number one, their first check of the year, on this pay schedule, their hours come in automatically from our daily entry sheets. You don't have to do their hours again. It does it all for you. What you do need to put in are things like the hourly rate right here. You're going to want to put the hourly rate in. It pops up in red if you don't put in an hourly rate, and you're supposed to. You can see that that's red, but the rest of them aren't because there were no hours for that pay period. So it always tells you if you need to enter in an hourly rate. If there's a bonus or anything for the pay period, you would put it here. If you need to garnish someone's check or get reimbursed for an expense, you can put it there. You can keep a record of a check number. If you issue checks, you put it there or not. Now let's get into the New Mexico part of this because it's a New Mexico video. So the table, this picture right here that I grabbed from the withholding rate calculator, there's three different tables, one depending on your filing status, if you're single, married, or head of household. And you can put them into a big nested if formula, which is what is written up here, that says if the annualized taxable income, which is just the amount of the federal taxable gross pay on your paycheck times the number of pay periods in the year to get an annualized amount. If that amount is less than a certain amount, do this. That's what this table is all the different layers of income. So there's a nested if formula. I won't go into too much detail because I did it so you don't have to type it down. If you want it in the comments, I can paste it in the comments. But basically, it just shows you what the tax would be based on whatever the filing status is supposed to be, single, married, or head of household. And then it picks the right one based on which filing status you chose right here. So if Bulbasaur became a head of household, then it's going to pick this one, which is the head of household amount that should be withheld for the pay period, not the single or married amount, right? Just puts it there and brings everything to your pay stub. And your pay stubs are really easy. You just choose the pay period and choose the name, and there you go. You get your pay stub. It just pops right up. And there's some extra things in here that you can just delete. For example, if you're not going to use Aflac insurance, you can just delete that right away. Um, that's how quickly, oh, you don't have employer health or employer long term? Boom, just delete it and you don't need it. So there are also reports here. You choose different quarters or months for your 941 report that you need to file quarterly and your deposits, depending on how frequently you deposit. You get a nice report here that's tied to that drop down. You've got a New Mexico report right here. You can also do the same thing. Just want to look for months or pay periods or whatever. Just do that. There's also a pivot sheet where this has automatic reports that can help you create even more dynamic reports if the reporting you have is not sufficient. Also keeps track of federal unemployment and state unemployment right here, if there's a rate for that. If we went back and we put a rate of 2% in for state unemployment and went back and refreshed our tables, you'd see that there's going to be an unemployment amount. Is there? Maybe there's not. New Mexico wage 2%. Oh, that's workers' comp. Sorry. Unemployment is right here. Sorry, if unemployment rate was 2%, right here, this is where you put unemployment. You go back to this report and refresh, and you'll see that you have a UI tax that's going to show up right here, unemployment tax. W-2s at the end of the year, just choose the employee's name. Everything kind of populates automatically where it's supposed to go. If there's no local tax in your area in New Mexico, which I don't know if there is in all places in New Mexico, it doesn't look like there is in this instance. And so that is basically the payroll file and how it works in New Mexico. I did a bunch of states over the past few weeks, and I'll be doing more videos about the states. It was Montana, I did Kentucky, I did Kansas, and of course, I love driving around and visiting everybody who purchases these from me and love to see your business and how you've been using the file because it is awesome. You will love it. It will make your life easy, and all your reporting functions can be just with the drop down done. So that's New Mexico. It's a beautiful country. I recommend that you go there, and I will be there probably within the next month. So good luck to everybody.